Hello and welcome to All Talk, the Geekbox Forums community podcast. This is episode number 38 for the week of October 22nd, 2012. I am Dakazu from the forums, and who is with me this week?
CrossXhunter.
Darks8.
And Totoro.
Mr. X is not here.
He might be there, Ando.
Who knows? So
X...
episode 38, so we're like middle-aged now, so we're about to have a midlife crisis and go buy a sports car or something.
You're making me depressed because that's not that far off from real life.
Hey, I think I'm a little bit older than you, so.
Yeah, but not by much.
Yeah.
It's gonna take me forever to get there.
Shut up, youngin'.
It'll be here before you know. You know that there's a lyric in Pink Floyd's Time where it says and then one day you find 10 years have got behind you, and it's totally true. I feel like literally yesterday it was 21.
That's what many
Yeah, your 20s fly by, they fly by.
Because you're working.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if everything goes to plan, you're working. Or you're in school for, the first 2 or 3 years. Anyway, sorry, I thought about that and I was like, hey, that's the podcast is middle-aged now.
Great. I was looking at how many podcasts we released, including including Horror Box, it's well over 50 now.
Well, yeah, with I think we had 14 or 15 of the watches when we were talking about Twin Peaks. And that is coming back, I promise. We watched The Stand, and I just haven't edited those and gotten them out there.
I don't think if anyone actually is demanding this, I'll be surprised. I think people forgot.
I'm demanding.
My anticipation almost killed me.
Indeedy. X is going to be joining us sometime, I don't know when. He's in the middle of an online Dead or Alive tournament. And he was I'll probably lose immediately. And I was like, you never know. And guess what? He's winning, so he's waiting to finish out the tournament and see how he places. But in the meantime, we can talk about all the topics that X doesn't like. But I think we're going to start out with translation stuff, right, Dark Fox? You're translating something?
Yes. So I'm doing this website called decultures.es. It's this Spain website that one time Kenzo linked to me and he said, Dark Fox, translate this for me. I know the gist of what it's saying, but tell me in case I missed anything. I know it's about Shinichiro Watanabe and his new TV series and stuff. So basically, Shinichiro Watanabe is the director for Cowboy Bebop. He also directed Samurai Champloo. Recently, he directed Sakamichi no Apollon and also
Kids on the Slope.
And he's also done some older stuff like Macross Plus. I think he did Wolverine as well, right? Yes.
Yeah, all you need to know is this is the guy who was in charge of Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, he sees hot shit, but for whatever reason, he's not done as many series as he should have. Between Samurai Champloo and Sakami and Kids on the Slope, it was a pretty big gulp, right? Of him not doing anything, and that was generally what the article was about him coming back, and he claims he's going to be a lot more active. He's going to try to get out one series about every year, and then
that's really ambitious.
Yeah. Well, every 1 year and a little bit more. I assume it's going to be 18 months. It won't actually be 1 year. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's much. Oh well, I bookmarked the site Decultures because it actually looked like a pretty good site, right? It was professional and it was constantly being updated, and so I bookmarked it and I'm looking at it, and I found another interview about Shinichiro Watanabe, and I mentioned it to Kenzo, and he said, "Oh, just give me the gist of it." And for whatever reason, I got the urge to translate it, just do my best at reading it, interpreting it, how best I could, write it in English and make an English article out of it. So far, it's kind of fun. I haven't gotten into hard yet.
Translating is an art. It's really not easy.
Do you have to westernize stuff, or can you just go pretty direct?
The only thing I could consider westernized would be the structure of a sentence.
Because verb and
verb might be
noun.
Somewhere else, and if I say it directly, I might sound like a weird alien.
Yoda.
Yeah, exactly like Yoda. so that's the only things I'm westernizing. I haven't paraphrased anything. Sorry, Totoro.
Well, and I was going to say, is it so? You said this was a .es site, so this is an actual Spanish site. So it probably needs to be said that there's there is a slight difference between like even Mexican Spanish and the rest of the Latin American Spanish and Spain, like Spanish.
I mean,
Would that be Catalan or Castilian or?
Yeah, there's slight differences in like the spelling. As far as I'm not great grammatically in Spanish, but as far as I know, there's just slight differences in the spelling, but there's huge differences in the pronunciation and like the slang they use. Sometimes it could be very confusing, especially for me, who's like a bastardized Hispanic person who grew up in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's even like you get dialects of English where there are phrases all the time.
Slang is like really hard to translate, and a lot of cultural stuff like that's even harder.
It's like you need to annotate why this makes sense and the culture it's from.
Yeah, I find good translations, like if you read like manga translations, good ones like they don't really directly translate like special moves or like things like that, and like they'll just leave a translator note on the side explaining what it is.
Yeah, idioms are a bitch.
One example I can think of in Chile, they say estoy para el gato, which means like I'm for the cat. So literally means I'm for the cat, but it means like I'm practically dead. And you know how cats like would play around with like a dead cockroach or something? It's like that's what it means. It's like I'm so tired. I'm like stick a fork in me. I'm done. That's basically the phrase. But the imitor is like I'm so dead. I'm just gonna lie around and the cat could come around and play for me.
Right, and if you were a good translator, you would like instead of saying,
I'm for the cat.
I'm for the cat. You would say like you said, stick a fork in me. I'm done.
Well, I think that's like the difference between translation and localization. It's knowing, knowing the source material, and then knowing like the people that knowing the audience of people who are going to be reading or listening to something or watching something, in the end.
That's a good point.
I don't like saying, I don't like it when people say, well, I'm translating this, and it's like, and it's just material, because it's like, no, you actually need the localization, I think is the perfect phrase, perfect term.
Well, depending on someone's job, it might possibly be to directly translate something, and then if it's like a team effort, there might be somebody else involved that is just a good writer, and they might not be a good translator. So then they get to translate the text, and they might write that into something like more presentable, I assume.
Yeah, that I could see that helping. I'm gonna out myself, but I did a couple fan subs for like mangas back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which ones?
Oh God, you want me to say specifically? It was for Hajime no Ippo. You can actually go back in some chapters. You'll see translator Dakazu, but yeah, it's tough. Like I could translate well enough, and I could like make sure like I could understand. Okay, we don't want to directly translate here, but like I couldn't. I'm not a very good writer, so I would be kind of limited in my translations for like filling in like what.
You can't change the dialogue too much because you're not creative enough to change it.
Exactly. Like I went back like a couple years and I reread some of my chapters and I was like, man.
I did that.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but it also wasn't that good either. I was like, ooh.
I'm sure I'm going to have a similar reaction when I actually post this interview that I'm translating. When I post them, I'm going to be pretty open about it and say that like I don't read Spanish so perfectly. So one, the interview might be inaccurate. The interview myself might be poorly conducted. I don't think it is. It seems relatively professional. But on top of that, like, I might have fucked it up along the way, right? So...
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, well, that's the thing is that, I mean, to, like, accurately do some of the stuff, I mean, you need to have, like, a foot in both cultures and, like, almost have spent equal time in both of them.
You often see like translating other languages into English, and then doing that, some of the phrasing will get messed up, and like you have to change around a bit. But I want to know like what type of troubles people have to go through translating from English back into a different language.
I don't know.
I would think it would be right? I think it would have to be. I think idioms are probably the most difficult thing, and then like getting. It's probably not so much translating the words. It's translating the spirit of of a phrase or of a sentence or of a paragraph, or getting the meaning correct, and then getting it crystallized for the people who are going to be reading it.
Sorry, Wayne.
I was going to say someone who would be like really excellent for this conversation would be someone like Adam Fitch on the Geekbox, because I don't know, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, isn't that his job to help localize?
Yeah. Well, he. I remember listening to an episode of Retronauts where they specifically talked about localization, and he was on that, and then he was talking about that. But then also, when they were talking about the Chrono Trigger sequels in a different episode, I think he worked on a fan translation, or he may have worked on a semi-official translation of what's it called?
Radical Dreamers. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
Yeah, so do I. I was like, hey, that was him. That was a long time ago. I didn't remember that was him.
But, now I'm going to want to go back and re-listen to that, but that's something that, he would obviously know quite a bit about and be able to shed quite a bit of light into that and kind of the troubles that go along with that, and I think he did kind of hit upon some of that, but that would be like an interesting sit down just to talk to him about that. That'd be kind of fun.
I was going to say this, like something similar. I think now, thankfully, video games have gotten to that point where they're very interested in localizing and not just translating. Because our RPGs have been around for a while now, and we've had to suffer through like a bunch of like dumb RPGs, or not. The RPGs themselves aren't always dumb, but they sound dumb when they translate it to English, right?
You spoony bard.
Yeah. Well, I think people like that line. Like in retrospect.
It's one of those. I think it's one of those lines that was it was very obviously horribly translated, but it's become so synonymous and so much of a keystone for that game. It's like, and we're obviously talking about
it's its own meme,
yeah,
ultimately,
yeah, but we're talking about a line from Final Fantasy IV that when it was originally translated into English was just I mean, I don't know what the original Japanese was. I would wonder what an accurate phrase would be in English, but it's a line from that, and it's so bad. It's one of those so bad it's good type of things.
There's a bunch of those, like all your base belong to us. All those things.
Yeah, but like with Fantasy IV in specifically, when they retranslated, I think they kept that line, haven't they?
Yeah, they
adapted it, like they owned it. I mean.
Yeah, they've taken ownership of that. The last time I played through Final Fantasy IV, I played through the GBA version. I've not played through the DS version or the Final Fantasy Complete Collection on PSP yet. But I mean, those are things that I kind of want to go through. That's my favorite one, and I would kind of like to sit down and play through them just to get that complete experience.
I want to go back and play through a retranslated version of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
because I didn't realize this at the time when I was playing it. But it's been pointed out multiple times on like various sites and podcasts. That translation is buns. It's really bad.
Yeah, like the story itself was kind of confusing, but they made the story even more confusing.
Yeah, that's one of the Final Fantasies that I've played through a decent chunk of it, and I just cannot get into it for anything. It's just.
I think it has its merits, but I would probably agree that it's overhyped. A lot of people like myself played it in a specific moment in our lives. It was pretty mind blowing at that time. I was like in 4th and 5th grade, so that story was like super mature and everything for me. And now it's not that mature. It's pretty anime. It's pretty soap opera, but I think it's still a cool game.
Yeah, it's a product of RPGs at that point in time. It was the next step, for RPGs at that time.
One thing I wanted to mention that I've heard on the A4P podcast, which is a pretty cool podcast, that they occasionally talk about localizing stuff. They mentioned that in Japan, like the localization of English games to Japanese is as bad as like their Japanese games to America back in like an 8-bit era. Like they're really
Oh,
really
really?
bad. Like when you try, like I remember mentioning Red Dead Revolver or no, Redemption, excuse me. When Red Dead Redemption came out in Japan, like a lot of people were excited to play it, right? Because it had a lot of buzz from America, including a lot of developers. Like picked it up, wanted to play it, but it was really hard for them because like the Japanese was like not intelligible. Like they didn't understand what the game wanted them to do. It was just like gibberish.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, and I wonder if part of that, to a degree, isn't also a little bit of the setting.
It probably
the Old West
is.
setting. But then again, I was just thinking that it seems like there's almost a built-in thing there because of film, especially over the past well, not very recently, but if you go back 30 to 50 years, and there was a lot of borrowing from kind of the samurai movies and turning those into westerns. So I wonder if that that could potentially be a cultural touchstone, but a point of reference.
Do they call them westerns, or is that only just an American thing?
I think they might call them
I have
westerns.
no clue.
I wouldn't assume so, but
I think cowboy.
yeah.
No, yeah, they call westerns because they call it seibugeki, which western means like western theater. Talking about all this translating stuff makes me kind of think about Dark Fox. You might have experience with this. Do you ever get like bad fan subs? I'm talking about the ones that they've been subbed from one language to another and then to another.
Yeah. Well, like when we first started watching like fan sub Dragon Ball Z tapes, it wasn't that bad. But like later, when I got some tapes from Chile, it like I got like Wolfrain, which is a series I kind of like a lot. It like the subtitles made no sense. Like like especially even when they're talking in English, right? So the song at the end of the credits of Wolfrains is like an English song, right? And there's this line that says "I feel the gravity." Instead of the subtitle saying "I feel the gravity," like it logically it would, it says "I feel the centrifugal force," which like makes no sense. They must like the only explanation for that must have been translated to something else and then back to English.
Yeah, if you ever put like a phrase in like Google Translate, translated it into another language, and then translated it back into English,
It comes out like Frankenstein.
because that's always fun.
If you get like bad fan sub boxes like I did of like the Prince of Tennis, like obviously it doesn't matter to me because as long as the Japanese audio is in there, I can understand that. But like I'd be reading the subs and they'd be so weird and it's so off. And what I realized was they were translating the Japanese to Chinese, and someone translated the Chinese back to English. I think that happens quite often.
But even when it's not like grammatically completely fucked up, I remember seeing a lot of Dragon Ball Z tapes. I like seeing Dragon Ball Z tapes. It sounds kind of nostalgic. It's weird. But I remember seeing a bunch of Dragon Ball Z fan subs where it's like they were cussing, a lot of really foul language, and I know that stuff wasn't like in the original Japanese stuff. Like maybe they might say one thing that might be considered like damn it or shit, but they're not gonna say like I'm gonna fuck you up or stuff like that. But like sometimes the fan subs will take liberties and make them like super hardcore.
This is a tricky part about the Japanese language because Japanese language doesn't really have any quote unquote like swear words or curse words. Like damn it or like shit is like we'll translate it as kuso, which literally means shit. But if someone is screaming like bukkoroshite yaru, which literally means I'll kill you, maybe if they want like a little bit more impact, they'll add a fucking in there, I'll fucking kill you.
Well, typically in Dragon Ball they go shine to say die,
which means die. But you're not really gonna find like an action movie where like someone's really gonna shout die.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of specifically because so me and my two friends growing up we would watch these Dragon Ball Z fan subs and we were like big dummies. So we like whenever we hear a word that will come up more than once, we'd write it down as the fan subbers like translated it. So there was one word that was fuck that we had written it down, but I forgot what word it was in Japanese. It wasn't kaso because we identified that as damn, like kaso. But there was something else. It sounded, I think, a little bit like Atusan, which I know Atusan is dad or father. something with an A, I think. But it was some, that type of
Aho?
Maybe.
Like, aho means like idiot, and baka also means idiot. Like, they're kind of hard to translate.
Yeah.
But it's like the equivalent of calling, if a straight translation would be the equivalent of calling something a dummy. That sounds just silly. Hey, dummy. Hey, stupid.
Bobo.
Exactly.
Well, either way, I think, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z shouldn't be that foul-mouthed. It's like kind of like a kid show. I know you might disagree.
No, it's a comedy.
That'd be like the doctor saying, "And nobody fucking died, Rose."
Indeed. Anything else about translation? I think we should move on. Topics.
Nope. Translate them good.
Localize them.
Localize them good.
I want to talk a little bit about Borderlands again. Sorry, it's because the DLC came out and I played through almost. I haven't finished it, but I played through like 6 hours of it with Ransu, and I just wanted to say that it's good. It's good, but it seems sloppy.
Well,
I feel like they rushed
first games like something like that.
Well, Cross, you know how in Borderlands 2 you still encounter bugs?
No.
What? Really? You haven't encountered a single bug? Like your game freaking out or like not being able to finish a quest line or something? Totoro knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that happened to me like within the first hour. I was like, well, shit.
Yeah, but eventually we went back and we fixed it, remember? Last time we played together, it just randomly fixed itself.
Yeah, I don't even understand that. And unfortunately, I've not been able to... I've been playing for like maybe 3 or 4 hours at a time, but it's like only on Sundays.
Yeah, you're moving through it slow, but so Totoro knows like there sometimes in Borderlands 2 proper there's just like little bugs. Sometimes you can't finish quest lines, you got to restart your game. Other times like at the very beginning of the game, you have a quest where to leave the first area, you have to beat this boss, and then Claptrap will take you on like this boat ride. So in my game, Claptrap froze up and he wouldn't like let me turn in my quest and then like move to the next area. So I had to restart, and that started me all the way back at the beginning of the area, and I had to I had to fight through the entire area, including the boss, all over again. Basically, I wasted 30 minutes. So these types.
I don't like how the game respawns bosses. That can be very annoying in some sections. Yeah,
I mean, in general, it's annoying because like Borderlands 2 still has the problem that Borderlands 1 had, was you may be fighting guys that are a couple levels underneath you, which means you're not getting any experience, but they're still like ripping you up. Kind of a weird balance thing right there. But anyway, about Borderlands 2, this DLC, there's like some weird graphic issues, and the new vehicle that they introduced, because this is supposed to be pirate based, you get a sand skiff. It literally looks like that vehicle from like Star Wars. You guys know what I'm talking about?
From Return of the Jedi?
Yes. And actually there's a lot of Star Wars references in these quests. I mean, the dialogue and the writing, they're all still super funny.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about the speeder bikes? Or the thing in the beginning with Jabba the Hutt?
The thing in the beginning with Jabba the Hutt that Luke is on.
Okay.
Yeah, you're literally riding one of those. But that thing, it controls like a Warhog from Halo, but as if that Warhog was like constantly on ice. It just slides everywhere. And because it has no traction, because it's constantly floating, if you stop on a hill, you'll just slide down because of, the physics.
Am I under a false impression, but can that vehicle not strafe also?
No, it can strafe. Strafe's pretty nice, actually. And the weird thing about that vehicle, Cross, is the gunner doesn't get to fire the strong weapon. They only get to fire a machine gun. The driver gets control to either rockets, this harpoon, exploding harpoon, so like it sticks on an enemy and then explodes, or then the saw blades.
Is it a 2-man or 4-man? Because
it's a 2-man. Oh, and you know what? If you have to fight those things, like if you are on foot and one of those boats are coming at you, you are effed. Because they move so fast, you can't trace them with bullets. I threw down my sentry, it couldn't trace it. Because it's moving around so fast.
And they one-hit you if they run over you, I bet.
Yeah, if they hit you, you go down. And then if they hit you again while you're down, it's just instant death. It's just really annoying. There's just like Ransu and I were just noticing a lot of like little tiny graphical issues, and also Ransu was playing. He has a NVIDIA card, and he had to turn his physics off because his physics was making his game hitch every time he fired his gun. And apparently, this is like a huge problem.
Too low.
He had to turn his physics off. I don't know if X has played the DLC, so I don't know if he's had the same problem. But I know I'm talking about a lot of complaints, but everything else about the DLC is great. You know, the gameplay is still good. The areas are interesting. I think there's 6 total areas. I've already spent, like I said, 6 hours playing, and I'm right about at the end. So I assume like it's a good 8-hour long DLC if you do all the side quests and stuff. For $10, that seems like a good deal, right? They're definitely, I think, living up to the General Knox DLC from the first game.
Right, the first DLC for the first game was Mad Moxie, right?
No, it was the Zombie Island
one.
Okay, never mind. I thought they started off with the worst one. So they could still have a really shitty second one. So just wait.
Man, I really hope they don't do another arena battle, because in the first game, that arena battle thing was terrible. It was time consuming. Like, you could be in an arena battle for up to 3 hours just to clear out one arena. It was not good. But yeah, so Cross, I don't know if you're going to get the DLC, but I think it's great. It's a lot of fun.
I might at some point. Like, they still offer the season pass, right?
Yeah, they do, and they will continue to offer it. So at any point, if you want, you can get the season pass, and then you'll just have access to all 4 of the DLCs. This one was priced at $10. I'm assuming they're not going to raise price. So I guess, like, if you get the season pass is $30, so you will save $10 if you get season pass, as opposed to just buying all 4 DLCs straight.
X and I are almost finished with that game, or so you say.
I'm sorry. Okay, what Cross was talking about was X was like, okay, I really want to finish Borderlands so we can talk about it on the podcast. I was like, okay. And we haven't done any side quests, but I forgot. That game, it takes some time. And when you play with a full party, those enemies are tough. And they take even longer.
Especially when half your party is underleveled.
Yeah. It wasn't so bad yesterday because it was just Ratsu with his Necromancer, but when it was you and me were underleveled compared to Apant, and
No, Apant was underleveled. Me and X were pretty much right neck and neck. He was a level
so
higher.
Apant and I were the lower level ones, and we did that bunker fight, and yeah, that took a long time.
But I successfully got an orange from it and had to snag it before anybody else could.
Yeah, I don't care what X says. Like, he calls me like the thief. X is the thief. He is totally the thief. If you play with Mr. X, beware. He will steal all the good stuff.
Don't sit there and inspect a weapon. Just pick it up and inspect
exactly.
it later.
Yeah, if it looks orange, just pick it up. Which is kind of weird. A lot of people have been complaining about like why they didn't decide to do like the
instanced loot.
Yeah, like in Diablo 3, but I don't know.
Well,
hopefully that will become the norm in the future, you know? Everyone gets their own specific loot. So you don't have to roll over things.
In Borderlands 1, like, when I was playing with Cancel, he would typically go, oh, come here, check out this gun. I guess that experience wouldn't be possible in an instant loot situation. Because, you know, I'd go over there and I wouldn't see anything because he was only seeing that gun.
It is, but then, like, it just means, like, ninja looting is going to be prevalent, right? People are just going to be like, hey, come look at this awesome gun. Oh, really? Oh, I took it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you feel it's not worth it, like losing that experience of...
See, at least in the first game, if you open a chest, first of all, you get a little message at the top that says so-and-so has opened a chest. And if you take something, it will say that you took it too.
At least with X and I, we use pretty much completely different weapons. He uses like rifles and shotguns, while I use SMGs almost primarily. So we don't fight over weapons. It'll just be like sometimes grenades or shields, but I don't actually change those that often either.
I don't understand what your philosophy is on that, because in Borderlands 1, the more you use a specific type of weapon, the more you gain proficiency with it. So that makes sense to me, but Borderlands 2, you don't get any like proficiency from just sticking with a weapon. You should just use all weapons.
Well, I like the SMGs because they fire quickly enough, and the way elemental damage happens in this game, it happens like a certain amount for each hit if it actually procs. So the faster I can hit them, the more elemental I can do. And you can basically I have a corrosive, a shock, a fire for whatever I need, and then my orange, that's just straight power.
See, I don't know about that, because to me it's not more so much about like the gun types, it's more about the manufacturer types. Because we talked about this when we geeked out about Borderlands 2, but like they really differentiate the guns on Borderlands 2. Like a Jacob's gun, it's going to be like as fast as you can pull the trigger, it will fire. But like it's not going to be the most accurate. What else? The Molly 1 guns are all like elementals.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what all of my SMGs are, because they're all elemental SMGs.
But I don't like Molly 1 pistols because they only have like 3 shots.
Well, I don't like pistols at all.
There are good pistols in the game, see, you shouldn't limit yourself.
Jacob's revolvers are good. Malawan revolvers can be good. I don't like the Hyperion.
Well, you refuse to use rocket launchers, and they're really good in this game.
Nope.
Well, see, what? But why? You haven't given me a good reason.
Not enough ammo. They fire too slowly.
But they're insta-kill. They're so strong.
But it's never like one enemy is ever giving me enough trouble. The only time I'd ever use it is against a boss, and against a boss it's just going to take forever anyways.
I don't know. I guess
the giant armored robots are the worst. The bunker and that thing we fought yesterday, and that other thing before the bunker. Absolute worst.
I like how we're talking around spoilers. Yeah.
No, I just can't remember their names, but they're like giant robots that will take you forever to kill, especially with 4 people.
Yeah, but it's a fun game. I'm surprised I'm still so into it, even though I've beaten it, and I'm playing through it multiple times with all you guys while you're catching up.
Leveling your Necromancer.
Yeah, Necromancer's still good. I'm finally going to switch over and try some different tech trees, because I haven't yet. Yeah, just final thing about DLC. DLC is good. It's good, just don't expect to be as polished. I think Ransu and I were talking about this. Maybe it was rushed a little bit. They didn't have enough time for playtesting.
From what I hear, it wasn't actually the Gearbox people that developed it. They did pre-planning on it pretty much. But they actually had another team whose name I can't remember do the actual development for it.
That would make a lot of sense, because some of the areas you fight through are well done, but other areas you're fighting through them and then you're getting stuck on places and it's not making a lot of sense. I don't know, but check it out. I thought it was good. Definitely worth $10. I'll give you that much. Oh, guys, I got a quick update from X. He is in the finals.
Interesting. Wait, so that means he won out of the loser bracket and now he's finding the final guy?
That he already lost to, so hopefully he can make it quick.
Mm-hmm. What else do we want to talk about? X, welcome back.
Hello.
Did you win?
I took 3rd.
That's not bad. Congratulations.
Thank you.
No, I'm kidding.
You loser.
Congratulations.
Don't be dicks, guys.
No, it's not very good.
It's better than 4th and 5th.
I suppose, but I got beat by 2 Li Fang players, and I have major problems with Li Fang. She's like Kokoro.
So what did you win?
Whole lot of nothing.
What's online turnaround, right? It's just for bragging rights?
I guess that you get points or something based on where you finish, and then there's a season or something, so it's kind of like a league. I don't know.
You don't really care, so not too bad.
Yeah, there was issues. People were saying 2 guys joined it that were best friends, and then they had to fight each other, and then one of them said, I won, and then the other one sent a message saying, he's lying, I won.
What?
Take a dive.
So then there was trolling.
Was it set up better than the last one, though?
Yeah, this one had significantly less people, and it was just run as a standard double elimination. And I wanted to get all my fights done right away, so I was just finding out whoever I was supposed to fight next and playing them instantly, and I was the only person doing that, so I got to the finals in 45 minutes.
But everyone else was taking a stupid ass time.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange that it's the honor system. Is that common? Sorry, Dakazu, to interrupt you.
No.
They can call in a ref if they want.
But then at that point, they had to rematch, or?
Yeah, but because they were best friends and they were doing this, I think they should have just been disqualified. And they're known for causing problems. It was Julius Rage who...
Oh, that guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy that has given Ransu death threats because of comments on his YouTube page.
Yeah.
He's just a troll.
That play is dead or alive.
Yeah, who Ransu, you can see, I don't know if they saved it on the live stream, but you guys were on the DOA live stream we were talking about earlier, and he played Ransu and he lost him 5 times or something like that. And he finally beat Ransu, and then he left.
I never had a plan. I was kind of surprised that I made it to the finals of the winner's bracket the way I did.
How many people were in it this time?
I don't know, 18, 19, something like that. Plus, one of the guys I was supposed to fight didn't show. So I got a bye. But I was like one of the only people that didn't have a first round bye. So I think it worked out. Because I had a second round bye because he didn't show. That was fun. You guys seem very interested.
No, actually, I'm interested in like the tournament scene and almost everything. I like very high level.
Well, it's an online tournament. It's a little different than the offline stuff.
It's still semi-competitive.
Well, there are people in the community that will say any win online does not count as a win, simply because of the inherent input lag that is there.
It sounds like Ransu.
In all online. No, Ransu isn't as bad as other people. I
mean, that's a stance to take, as long as you hold yourself to that stance and not brag about your wins online.
Well, there was this guy on, I think it was NeoGAF where I read this post. He said, I just played the number 3 ranked person in the world, and I beat him. I'm so proud of myself right now. And then somebody came and said, it was an online win. Online wins mean nothing. That was nothing. So it was just some guy shooting down someone because he was happy he beat someone that was ranked high.
What a dick.
There's a bit of ground there.
There is a little bit of difference, but I mean, it's basically 2 games because of it. But you can play online if you play online.
And isn't like the Dead or Alive community mostly online anyway? Because you guys are, it's not big of a community.
Yeah, because I think that it's attitudes like that are actually hurting the offline community. Because you're going to get all of the players from, if you want to get new players in the offline community, you have to get it from the online. And if you're just treating all the online players like crap, then you're not going to get anywhere.
Well, yeah.
Here.
Go to their houses, whoop their ass at Dead or Alive, and leave.
You know, Cross, there is this Georgia DOA Fight Club meetup thing that's happening next month in Georgia.
That would require me to have Dead or Alive so I could know how to play Dead or Alive.
Didn't you just get an Xbox?
Yes, but Dead or Alive is also an investment on top of that.
I could tell
It's okay,
you that.
I don't think I'm going to go to it either.
New Xbox is nice, yet major hassle trying to get the thing set up.
So I know it just would seem weird to me to show up at some random dude's house because he's playing DOA.
Oh, is it in a house, not like in like a hotel
it's at
or
someone's
something?
house.
Oh
It's at
man,
someone's
that's
That's strange. Wait,
Well,
let's go
people
back
show
to
up at
awkward.
parties.
let's go back to Cross. Like what problems did you have setting up the Xbox? It's pretty standard.
There's your TV and audio, right?
Well, yes, because I'm hooked it up to my computer monitor, so my computer monitor unfortunately does not have HDMI, so I was thinking I plug my computer in through VGA, so I'll buy a VGA cable for my Xbox. Unfortunately, I didn't realize you needed, because it only has the weird VGA port in the back and the HDMI, the HDMI and the other type of port, not a proprietary thing.
Oh, okay. yeah.
So I went out, because I already had HDMI cables, so I just bought one of those and bought a HDMI to DVI connector, because apparently HDMI to VGA is impossible to find in the configuration I want. I could always find it the opposite way, but not the direction I had to have it go. And
Just no audio that way.
yeah, so I looked up on YouTube and Google ways to get audio going because for my computer I don't actually have external speakers in my monitor. I don't have internal speakers in the monitor or external for the computer. So I bought a few different things and have made a weird daisy chain of stuff to get my sound going, and I actually got the final piece probably a few hours before we started recording this.
Don't those have optical audio out?
Yeah, like the red, white, and yellow cable.
No, optical is
A single cable.
It's also called Toslink.
Oh yeah, it does have that, but I don't know anything about that. So what I actually did is the composite cable, I guess, component, one of those two that comes with the Xbox with the red and white on it. I took that, broke the plastic casing off of it
Oh my
on
God.
the cover, because otherwise you can't fit that and an HDMI cable in at the same time.
That's true, you can't.
Because it has a weird dumb thing on that to purposely keep you from doing it, I figure. But I have that plugged into my Xbox, and so that has 2 RCA, or technically 3, but 2 that I would use. I'm pretty sure it's
Yep.
RCA. The red and white.
Composite, yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't find any. What I was looking for was what is called a Y adapter, which would take two of those and put it to a 3.5 millimeter jack. Except I couldn't find any of those with female RCA, so I had to buy couplings for two RCAs on it. Plug those onto each end so I can just plug them into each other, and now I have a 3.5 millimeter jack that I had at first I was just plugging it into a weird speaker box thing I forgot I had. I could take input and output, so that's how I was originally doing my sound, but that thing is about a foot tall and half a foot wide, so I didn't want to have to move that. So I bought a 3.5 millimeter female to female, have that at the end, so I have like 4 extra things just daisy chained together so I can plug my headphones into them.
You know they make headphones for the 360.
Yeah, like my brother has one of those, but it would need, I think, the RCA, the component, or composite, yeah. it would need those.
Or
my
optical.
My monitor doesn't have that, so...
Well, it doesn't plug into your monitor, it plugs into the Xbox.
Yeah, but doesn't something have to plug into the thing that plugs into the Xbox? Like, where does that go?
It goes... Well, there's the adapter that has the part that plugs into the 360 has the optical thing on it. It just... The 360 itself that doesn't actually have an optical output, which is really weird.
Don't the like the Astro mix amps have that on there?
Do you think I'll buy a mix
How
amp?
they work.
My solution cost me about $22.
Well, that is cheaper.
Because it was like $10 for 2 of the pieces, and about $2 for another piece that I had to order off of Amazon.
Well, you MacGyvered yourself a situation, or a solution to your situation.
Yeah.
You were not
works
joking when you
well.
said that was needlessly complicated, because that was needlessly complicated.
Yeah, I zoned out.
No. I have it all like tied together in a cardboard tube.
Atar Fox was just thinking about hot dogs.
Maybe. I did something similar in Chile because I didn't have an HDTV and I didn't want to play my P3 on my like the tube SD TV that I had in my room. So you wanted to use my PC monitor, but my PC monitor like it only had DVI, I believe. So I could get a HDMI to DVI cable, but that wouldn't carry the audio. So I went ahead and bought like this cheap speaker for the PC, and I was able to do that. Not as complicated.
You can get HDMI to DVI that will carry audio.
Yeah, I think mine actually does that. Just my computer doesn't have audio.
But I don't think DVI. It's a DVI input on the TV, and that doesn't take audio, does it?
No, but it can. But it will split off the stereo.
Or like a jack.
Jacks.
Oh, I see. I guess I could have looked for that, but I that didn't occur to me. But this solution was ultimately best because I could have used this way. I could use my headphones similar to Cross.
The moral of the story, kids, is to just make sure that your monitor has HDMI.
And
moral of the story is play PC games.
I was gonna say they say PC gaming gets complicated, and consoles can be complicated too sometimes.
Well, ultimately, like, you should be hooking up that Xbox to a regular TV, that's why.
But
I have a regular TV I could probably use. I would just have to get permission first to move it. Because it's currently being unused, gathering dust, but I don't know if there's going to be some greater purpose for it.
So, guys, what did I miss while I was off playing a video game?
Borderlands.
Well, you'll have to listen to find out.
Yeah, some Borderlands. A little bit of translation.
Sexy comics. No, that's not true.
We took Kama Sutra. We talked about our favorite chapters in the Kama Sutra.
You know what I didn't talk about yet, X?
A TV show?
No, how I broke my controller.
Oh, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, that happened this week. I got mad.
Do you want to tell the story, or should I tell that story?
I'll tell the story.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I told a couple weeks back that I started playing Dead or Alive. And I was like, hey, X. Hey, Ronsu, let's play Dead or Alive. They're like, okay.
And the day before, I was like, do you want me to go easy on you? And you said, no, how else will I learn? So I said, are you sure? And then you said, yeah. So then I stopped going easy on you.
Yeah. For that day, and that was fine, because I was ready for that. This day, I was trying to use my Tina, and I was not doing well. I was losing a lot. And I decided...
To be expected.
Yes, but, I was like, I know I can win. So I was trying really hard, and I could not beat Ronsu.
And then you picked Lisa.
Yeah, I got mad, so I picked Lisa. because I know Ronsu
You
hates
were
Lisa.
not talking. You picked Lisa, and then you weren't saying a word.
Yes, I was concentrating really hard because I was
It was serious business time for Dakazu.
It was serious business time. But guess what happened? I lost.
You won 2 rounds, though, I remember.
Yeah, I did. But ultimately, I lost. And that frustrated me even more because I could have won.
And then we hear this crash.
Yes, that was my controller hitting, like, the floor. Now, I was not intending to break my controller, but I was mad. So I was like, I'm going to hit it on the ground. But I guess I hit it at a weird angle because it broke. Like, the side plastic on. If you look at a 360 controller, you have the bottom piece of plastic holding, where the socket is for, like, your microphone cord and that thing.
Yep.
That piece of plastic just popped right off, and then you could see, like, one of the rotors on the side.
And you could have stopped there.
I could have, but, like, I was like, all right, well, it broke, so I'm not getting this fixed. I'm just going to go for it. And then you heard crash, 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 bang, bang, bang.
And that's about the time I left because I didn't need to listen to somebody destroy things.
Yeah, and then you heard nothing because I had to go to the bathroom because I had pieces of plastic in my hand and I cut it up and I was bleeding.
What a baby.
Yep.
That's pretty serious.
You have some rage issues.
I do. Yeah, but the funny thing is, after that happened, I was like, I feel a lot better. I was no longer mad at all. Probably because I was bleeding.
Yeah.
But controllers cost $50.
And that was your PC controller.
I know.
Like
that's the part that sucks. That was the controller that I used to plug into the PC because, like, that's the one you need, like, the corded one to plug in.
Well, there's an adapter for the wireless one.
Yeah, but
You have a PS3 controller, right?
I do.
He does.
I hear you can use those now.
You can.
Like, effectively.
You can. There's a thing. He tried doing it before.
Oh God, no! I don't want to do that again.
He couldn't figure it out.
I'm not the only one who couldn't figure it out. Jen couldn't figure it out either.
What do you mean? She got it working in like 5 seconds.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, she did.
That was Dark Fox.
No, she got it working.
I figured it out, but I don't know how I did it.
And then I was like, okay, let me try this. And then I got it working instantly.
There's guides on the internet. You can do it if you want to.
Maybe I'll go back to it.
It's not even a guide. There's a step-by-step installation process.
Oh my gosh, leave me alone.
There's a guide on Giant Bomb now.
Break the mic now.
I'm not gonna break any mics. No, it was like this is only like the second time I've ever broken like anything.
I've never broken anything like that. I mean, one time my brother, he got mad at me for something, and then he took my Jaguar controller by the wire and then slammed it against the dresser.
Not your Jaguar controller.
My Jaguar controller.
No.
But that didn't break it.
Whoa.
I've had my DS kicked out of my hand before, on accident, kind of.
Was it a rage kicking?
Not really, like, I don't think he meant to kick it, but it did, and fell behind my couch and busted part of the hinge, but it was one of the old fat DS's, which I actually still have in a drawer. But because it was built like a brick, it didn't completely break, and I was like, thank God.
I have 2 fucked up 6-axis, but that's just
6-axis.
Yeah, but that's just because I was being like what's the word? I wasn't paying attention, and they would always fall down on me and hit the floor, and that happened enough so that the plastic between the analog, or not the analog stick, the triggers on the top, the squishy triggers, that would pop off, and the analog sticks became really loose to the point where I couldn't use them, so I had to get another DualShock. I think that's because that was some of the first wireless controllers I ever had, and in the past, in the olden times, whenever a controller was sliding off my bed or was about to fall off the table, I do a general sweep to hook the cable. Like, my arm was a hook, and I'll just hook the cable, and that way I would save the controller. But when I do that now, I just hook air, and the controller would just fall down and break. So I wasn't used to wireless controllers.
I had a
Wavebird.
Wavebird. The Wavebird was pretty good.
Is that the GameCube one?
It was?
Yeah.
I think the other controller I busted was it was a PS2 controller.
I remember I got these weird controllers for the NES when I was a kid for Christmas because my dad and mom didn't know anything. So they got me this one-handed weird controller.
Nice.
Was it like emulate an Atari or something?
No, you held it in like the palm of your hand. It was like kind of like diamond shaped and had the buttons like around the side of it. It was super weird.
It was for your, private time.
My brother had a penchant of not necessarily breaking, but throwing controllers. And so he eventually got like one of those Nerf PS2 controllers.
Wait, Nerf? So that was squishy and it wouldn't break?
Yeah, you could toss it around, throw
That's
it like a football. You should make Wiimotes like that.
They
They
should.
should make 360 controllers for Dakazu like that.
Let's just be specific, okay?
A
I
rubber
wasn't planning
controller,
on
so it'll
breaking a
bounce
controller.
up
I do
and
get
hit him in
mad.
the face.
I get mad a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
But only when you lose.
I don't like losing. Most
You
of the
really
time,
don't.
most of the
Who gets
time,
mad
like
when they
if I'm
win?
not invested in like a match, then I pretty much just shake it off, and well, you know, I can laugh about it. But if I'm trying to win, if I'm really trying and I lose, I get mad.
To be
What do
fair
you
to Dakazu, he it usually blows over pretty quickly. Not like he's fuming for days or something like that.
No,
You
and
know,
you know,
he
that's
just
that's
gets
kind of my
angry.
thing. If I just blow my gasket, then like I usually that lets off the steam real quick.
Yeah, it's not like we're in constant threat under like this hostile Dakazu.
You know, it would be weird if you like raged when you won.
Yeah! Oh God, I'm so angry!
Fucking victory!
Why do I keep winning?
Fighting games
No,
are really
you had a moment like that.
Fighting games
Well,
are really
no.
tough because, you know, it's a competition as it is. And then also, I'll get equally frustrated not just from, like, losing. I'll get frustrated from my own mistakes.
Why can't I be better?
Yeah, why did I do that stupid thing? I totally left myself open there. Oh, that'll frustrate me further, you know.
I've been told not to do this, but I keep doing it
Exactly.
because it's easy.
Exactly.
That happens a lot, like in old school games when you're fighting like a hard boss, and like the boss may have multiple stages, and you're like, okay, the only way for me to beat this boss is to not get hit in this phase of the boss fight, and then the real fight starts in the second phase, right? But for whatever reason, you keep on fucking up the first phase. You're like, oh my god, why can't I do this? It's the easy part. Why can't I do this easy part?
Do you know what's weird, though? I don't think I've ever gotten ragey rage over Dark Souls or Demon Souls.
I've had some moments where it's just like, I got fed up enough, I would turn the game off, but it's not like I'll be too angry. It would just be like, well, I died dumb in pretty much the same spot a few times because, oops, I got hit off an edge, or oops, I fell somewhere that I don't even think you're allowed to be here, but somehow I am.
Right.
I lost, like, if you lose humanity, that's always the worst part. Losing souls is okay, but it's like, I just lost 9 humanity. Welp.
Yeah, that would piss me off.
The first death is okay, but your double death, it's just stupid how it happened.
But, you know, you play a lot more recklessly than I do. You know me, I'm a stupid scaredy gamer when it comes to that game.
And then you die a second time very stupidly, and you're like, how did this happen?
Indeed. Yeah. I mean, I'll still play against Ronsu and X, but I'm really gonna try and focus and stay in the mindset that, like, I'm not playing to win.
You should also try a different character, not a throw character.
Yeah.
You're playing to survive as long as you can.
Well, after, like, that night after, like, I busted my controller, Ronsu's cousin got the game too, so I was playing with him, and that was a lot of fun because we were kind of evenly matched.
Yeah, I was trying to tell you that you should play with more online people because the majority of the people online are not very good.
No, they're not.
But for some reason, you had the mindset that everybody online is amazing at the game.
Why were you using your wired controller with your 360?
Because that was easy access. My 360 is hooked up to my television, which is on top of my dresser in my bedroom, where my desktop is, and the 360 controller was right there, the wired one.
As I have my setup right now, my PC's to my right, with my wired controller plugged in on top of it, and my 360's to my left, with the wireless that came with it just sitting atop of it.
There's a wireless Logitech PC controller that works like an Xbox 360 controller, so it gets auto-detected and everything, all the button prompts come up.
Is this link
Maybe
that you
you
just
should-
posted?
Yes. Maybe you should get that instead of a 360 controller because you can't use it with a 360, so there's no risk of you raging out at it when you play DOA.
I'm good. You know, my wife was also not around. She would not have been putting up with
That's
that.
probably a good thing.
Yeah, she would have told me
She
to
would have
stop.
frowned
Like,
upon your actions.
yeah, she would have like been smacking me upside the head before like that happened. But she wasn't around.
Your dog was there, though. I bet you were getting some strange looks from your
Oh
dog.
man, she was scared.
Why is Master being mad?
Dogs are really sensitive to that kind of stuff, you know? Like, they know, like, if you're not feeling well, or if you're upset, or if you're sad.
If you're throwing things across the room.
If you're smashing something violently into a table or floor, what'd you smash it on?
I smashed it on the floor.
And do you have carpet or like hardwood?
Hardwood.
That could have messed up your hardwood.
Gotta get carpet, that
I'm
will
not
bounce.
gonna lie, there's a dent.
I Knew it.
My wife hasn't noticed yet. Shh, don't tell her. She doesn't listen.
Just lost her security.
She doesn't listen to the podcast.
I don't blame her.
Let's move on though because we're kind of running long. Now that X is back, we can talk about Arrow.
The TV show?
Yeah.
About a green guy?
No, actual arrows.
Oh yeah, they're sharp.
Have you seen this fast? What's it called? Like fast camera, like really slow motion footage of the arrow flying in the air. It's weird. Like they snake around. Like they're not like a straight snake.
Yeah, they wobble.
Yeah, they wobble, and then when they hit something, they like the wobbling pushes it into the thing they hit. It's kind of cool. You should look it up.
I will do that.
The intro to The Witcher 2 shows that in very good detail.
I need to play that game. I've had it for a while and never played it.
I need to get back to it. I feel so bad.
Did you guys talk about Cyberpunk at all?
Oh no.
Cyberpunk 2077? Speaking of Witcher 2, it's the next game from them.
Oh, I was wondering why you brought that up so suddenly.
It's based on Cyberpunk, the board game or whatever.
They finally released new information about that. I remember talking about that on the podcast way long ago.
Yeah, it's going to be like an open world sandbox game.
And it looks pretty good.
It has a really cool logo anyway. And the name of it is Cyberpunk 2077. And the logo looks like it's from the 80s, so sign me up.
Not since Space Marine has the title of a game been so generic.
Yeah, but they can't help that. That's the name.
Yeah, and they couldn't help it either.
Space Marine.
Yeah, they couldn't help it either because that's what they're called in that fiction, right? They invented it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's called Cyberpunk.
And they're called Space Marines.
It's just funny.
So Arrows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Arrows. I saw both episodes.
So did I.
I unfortunately only saw like the first 10 minutes of the second episode, but I don't mind you guys spoiling it.
Totoro, do you care if we spoil stuff?
I go for
Okay,
it.
You haven't watched it yet?
He hasn't watched it, but he will.
No.
Right?
Okay.
Just everyone listening, just so you know, we'll be spoiling Arrow.
Okay.
Only for like
here's my spoiler.
10, 15 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, here's my spoiler.
He dies and he's gay in the
He kills everyone.
He kills some people.
I don't think he's actually
killed
like
2 people.
I know it seems dramatic because he's literally firing arrows at people, but I think
No,
he's
he has
loading
killed
them.
People say they
people.
go to like the hospital.
Yeah.
But like that one guy, he straight up snapped his neck.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The 3
and-
guys that like kidnapped him, I think they're like dead in hell.
Well, yeah, he killed them all.
Yeah.
And there was, then the cop said he has killed people.
Yeah, well, he knew those people were dead.
He's killing them all. He's
Yeah,
killing everyone.
I think those are. I think you just mentioned the throwaway line. He says he put 3 of my guys in the hospital and showed the arrow.
Mhm.
I don't think that was. I don't think that was meant as like the G.I. Joe cartoons with the parachute. It was just that.
There's 3 of them lived.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like acknowledgement. Like he's shooting people with arrows, and some of them are probably going to die, but some of them also are going to survive, just like in real life.
Maybe
Depends
they're
on where he shoots them.
maybe they're just trying to separate him from Batman. Because you know how
He does
Batman,
not have Batman's code.
Yeah, Batman has the code of not killing. This guy's obsessed about what's his catchline whenever he talks to like a villain?
Something about justice.
You wronged this
Swear
city.
to me.
You let the city down. I think it was.
Yeah.
I believe
Where are the
it's.
other
You
drugs going?
spoony bard.
I believe it's. I'm Batman.
I'm doing it.
So what did everybody think?
I think it's okay.
It's
It's like this. I don't know if you guys have watched Nikita. It's like Nikita, but with worse action.
I like the action.
Yeah.
I know the action is decent. It's just Nikita is the action is
the
really
action
good on
in
that show.
the fight scene at the end of episode 2 was not that good.
No, it wasn't.
Weird,
It was
wasn't.
super awkward.
Mhm.
Between that chick and him.
Uh-huh.
It's because she is getting a little old and probably can't do the stuff she used to be able to do.
Who is that?
I think that was Kelly Who.
The Jackie
would-
Chan lady?
No,
Who's Kelly Who?
She was in The Scorpion King and also X-Men 2.
That girl.
She was what's her face with that was like Wolverine.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
X-23. Or Lady Deathstroke.
Yeah, that's it. That's who she was.
That's what she was reminding me of that, and I was thinking she was probably supposed to be like Lady Shiva or something, but she's too bad to be that.
But yeah, it's okay.
Have you read any Green Arrow comics before?
I've read some Green Lantern. Does that count?
Almost.
The Green Arrow shows up in that from time to time.
Because there were like some things while watching this that were like I found it cool because I was like, hey, that's kind of like this, but there are also a few things that were bothering me because I'm like, why, like,
Speedy.
well, that
Yeah.
and Laurel.
Yeah, they're calling her by her middle name.
Yeah, but at first I was like, they just removed Dinah from it, but then Merlin calls her Dinah Laurel Lance. I'm like, what?
So this is the real character?
Yeah, she's
Black Canary.
Black Canary.
And also, I guess kind of spoilers, Merlin isn't like in the comics there's a character named Merlin who isn't really like that, but he's like a villain who's also an archer.
Didn't he teach Green Arrow how to be Green Arrow in the comics?
I think so, and then they had like a competition because Green Arrow got more popular. I think that's how it went.
They had a falling out or something.
And then he joined like the League
mentor.
of Assassins. Who knows? Comics.
Yeah. But then Speedy on Speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't realize that Speedy is like, it's the sister is going to be Speedy?
No, I knew she would be Speedy.
I didn't realize she was going to be Speedy when he called her Speedy.
Why is her name not Mia Dearden?
He just called her Speedy. Although, isn't Roy supposed to be Speedy?
Roy was the first Speedy. Second Speedy was Mia Dearden, who was like a prostitute.
So this is his sister, so his sister's probably not going to get AIDS.
Well,
wait, his
she's
best friend, that Roy, that's the Speedy?
No.
No, his best friend is Merlin.
Yeah.
Who I think knows.
Roy
a lot of people know that he is that guy because they never call him Green Arrow,
right?
Or Arrow.
Roy was the original Speedy in the comics, and then he went on to become Red Arrow, and then Arsenal.
Yeah.
And he was a heroin addict.
Right.
And then he got his hand cut off.
Right.
And then he got a robot hand.
Mm-hmm. Surprising, even though I don't know a lot about comics, I still know these facts.
Well, I know more about him than Green Arrow because he was in Justice League, and I read some Justice League.
I watched the cartoon, so he was on there too. He's pretty funny.
I hear in episode 5, Deathstroke is supposed to appear, and I'm like, how do we get from him just handling random kind of like crime bad guys to Deathstroke?
Who's just like the ultimate fighter?
Yeah, and no, he'll like straight up look like it to where he has the mask and everything.
Didn't he show the mask in the island? Isn't that what that was? The half mask thing?
I don't think so.
What was that? Like on a stake?
I don't know what that was.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Not a clue.
In the first episode, when I think they're Chinese, the Chinese boat comes and rescue them, they show a brief like shot of Deathstroke's mask. It's like half black and half orange or something, right? That's
I didn't notice that.
And it's like on a stake, and there's like an arrow holding it up on the stake.
I
swear to the fucking God in the sky that I saw that.
Why are you making stuff up?
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure, like, I'll be shocked if I go back, and I feel weird. I feel like I'm going crazy. Because I saw that, I'm like, I wonder what that means. I'm going to ask the guys later what that means.
Did you guys see the preview for episode 3 by any chance?
No. What's in it?
What's his face? With the eye at the guns?
Deadshot,
yes. He's in it. And he's got the eye and the guns.
Aw, sweet.
So, you said that girl who was his ex is Black Canary. At least the name is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's not her origin, right? It's like Green Arrow never fucked her sister and then got her sister killed.
She never had a sister.
Okay, so they're just repurposing like his sister. They're just repurposing comic book characters as characters in the drama.
What do you think of his costume?
It's okay. I find it weird that they show him suiting up and training in both episodes, but they never show him spray painting his eyes because you clearly see he has green spray paint around his eyes or something.
Well, that's supposed to be his mask.
Yeah, I know, because I was like, if anybody just sees him, it'll be pretty obvious who he is.
Even with that green thing over his eyes, it's pretty obvious. But
it helps blend.
I
like his costume, though.
Yeah, I think his costume is fine. What do you think about the fact that it seems to be kind of a family drama?
Well, that's expected.
Because that isn't a big focus in the Green Arrow from the comics, right?
No, his mom is actually I think it might have been, or somebody that's kind of related to him in a motherly fashion is evil and took over his company.
I was expecting there to be some family stuff because
I wasn't expecting his mom to be the villain.
I was kind of expecting his mom to be dead because that's how it was in Smallville.
Oh, well, this is not continuity with Smallville, is it? I don't think it is.
No, not at all.
What did you think of the end of episode 2?
How did it end?
It ends with him getting shot on the island.
Yeah, and he gets shot by a person with a hood.
Oh, right, yeah.
I was like, wait, what? At first I was like, is this the same guy?
It's Deathstroke.
Or is it another guy that came to his island while he was already there that, for some reason, had a very similar story?
Deathstroke doesn't use arrows. I mean, he can.
Well, he got shot by an
He
arrow?
uses a sword.
I think he got shot
like,
with a gun.
Pistols.
No,
he got like shot through the shoulder or something with an arrow.
Deathstroke uses whatever he can get his hands on. But mostly guns and swords.
I swear to God, the Deathstroke mask was on the island.
Stop making things up.
We'll have to go back and confirm, but yeah, I thought it was pretty good actually.
I thoroughly enjoyed it so far.
It definitely was not bad. You know,
if you guys
cape.
Yeah, as I said earlier, it is no cape.
But
yeah, that's what he said, Cross.
I mean, you could film a piece of dog poop for 4 hours, and that'll be better than the cape.
I watched almost every episode of the Cape except like the last 1 or 2.
Why?
Why would you do this to yourself?
Because I started and realized it was so bad, but I had to continue until it got so bad.
When it's so bad, then that's when you stop and walk away.
I feel like the guy, like, I felt this in watching the Cape, but the guy that plays Green Arrow feels like he has too much eye makeup on.
You mean when he's as Arrow? When he has green stuff all over his eyes?
His eyelashes and, like, just the area around his eyes really bothers the hell out of me. He looks too pretty.
So you think he's like Richard Alpert from Lost?
Yep. Guyliner.
Oh, I know when he's gonna get, like, goatee.
Well, he had, like, the giant full beard and everything. And he's, like, younger and... I'm not sure if in New 52, I don't know if Darkbox had gotten there yet, with what little he's read, but I can't remember if New Green Arrow, because he's so much younger, if he has a goatee or not.
I haven't seen Green Arrow yet.
Alright.
I don't think so. I've read the first couple of them. I don't recall. I don't think so.
Also, as I saw Liquid point out on the forums, it is super, like, now that he has pointed it out and I know, it's really disorienting that they're having characters with names that are also, like, comic creator names.
What?
Like, his bodyguard Diggle,
like Andy Diggle and Jock, the creators of the Losers.
Yeah, he did Green Arrow Year 1, and the girl from Episode 2, Nocenti, the current writer of Green Arrow is Ann Nocenti.
What? Why are they doing this?
Because they're giving tribute to the people who wrote it.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for Kevin Smith to come out.
Higgins pointed out that there was a run of Green Arrow where he did just go around murdering fools. Yeah. So I guess this is based on that.
Did you get the link I did? I sent you?
I did.
Vindicated.
No, that's not the same thing.
What is that then?
I don't know. It's a mask.
Alright, whatever. Sorry for talking about stuff that you listeners can't see.
Dark Fox is still cut up on this mask.
It's black and orange. There's no blue on that.
Wait, isn't Deathstroke blue? I mean, black and orange?
No.
I thought it was like navy and orange.
Well, it's been like about 15 minutes, so I think we should move on.
If you guys like this, you should watch Nikita.
Is that a CW show also?
It is. And it's similar, kind of.
I honestly never thought the show would come out.
Why don't I preface this X that I like this show despite it being a CW show? How about that?
There are 2 or 3 other CW shows that are good. Like
Vampire
Supernatural.
Diaries.
Vampire Diaries is actually surprisingly okay. Because of the way it's paced and stuff. I mean, it's not. It's not a clone of Twilight like people assume. It is not. At least I assume. I've never seen Twilight. It could be, but Nikita is good. It's just all 100% pure action. It is an action series. It's on Netflix too. You should watch it.
Does anybody know what night Green Arrow comes on?
Wednesdays.
All right.
Before Supernatural.
Slower days.
Indeed. Let's move on to our movie box. Cross, what did you pick?
I chose the 1988 Studio Ghibli film, My Neighbor Totoro.
That sure is a movie.
That sounds familiar. Like one of the people on this podcast.
Totoro, have you actually seen... You've seen Totoro before, I take it, right?
I don't think he has.
I think he's going to blow a gasket.
No, never.
Yes, he names his avatar like Totoro, but he has never seen it. He just likes the name.
What it's kind of like the theater production company or group that Gary Sinise and John Malkovich started up was this. They named it Steppenwolf after I think it's a book. And Gary Sinise has said that he's not read the book and he's not going to because it's like so much cooler that he hasn't. But no, I have.
I think he named it based on the band Steppenwolf.
Yeah, we get it.
Let's ask Cross what he thought of this movie.
Because...
Oh God, let's ask Cross what he thought of this movie because he picked this and he's never seen it.
I thought it was pretty good. If like not much really happens in it, I expected Totoro and the cat bus to be in it more, considering how popular like those characters are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they had like the Totoro itself had like 3 scenes and Cat Bus had 2. It was just like kind of slow paced country life with these 2 girls. Yeah. What was up with what was the mother sick with? Actually, did it ever explain that?
They don't say, but I think people have speculated that it's tuberculosis.
That's what I was thinking.
I think that
movie takes place in the 50s or 60s. Yeah.
Yeah, it's post-war.
Right, I heard. I might be crazy. I'm sorry for talking about baseless stuff, but I think Hayao Miyazaki's mother was sick with tuberculosis, something like that. So I think that makes sense.
I enjoyed the movie. It was cute. It was like simple because it is a children's movie, as Ponyo is. But Ponyo had a more central conflict, where the conflict of this movie was the mother's sick, which doesn't really surface too much till towards the end.
That's the subtlety of this movie. Ponyo is far more traditional kids movie. I don't know, but before we try and like start pretending like we're philosophical film critiques or anything, what did Mr. X think?
I think it was a baby movie for babies.
Well, yeah, but
is that
what
really
else did you
honestly
think?
your thought?
Yep, baby movie for babies.
Okay, but like compare this baby movie to like like Aladdin or something like that.
I like Aladdin more.
Aladdin has adventure. This movie just...
I also like Lion King more.
See, because this movie isn't just
Iron
for
Giant
kids.
also.
Iron Giants are really good. This movie isn't just for kids; it's also about kids. Aladdin isn't about kids. Lion King isn't about kids.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying I didn't like the movie.
Sorry, go ahead.
I found it a little weird in the movie how accepting, like, I understand they're children, but like, especially the adults around them, how accept, like her dad, how they would accept like the supernatural stuff of the Totoro and everything. Like, I understand he was just going along with it for his kids, but he obviously like saw some stuff, didn't he?
You don't know.
Not really.
Like the giant tree, did he not see that, or?
That was in the dream.
Well,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
it was in reality. It was just a giant camphor tree. Or are you talking about like when they're doing this?
Yeah,
when they grow it, and then the Totoro's flying around.
That was a dream.
No, that was.
Or
was it?
Like it could be like some sort of premonition. Like
deadly premonition.
Yeah, they would show what the tree would be in the future.
Yeah, it meant something because the next morning like they sprouted, right? But obviously it didn't grow in that one, in those moments to like a giant tree. So the father definitely didn't see that. But it wasn't so much a dream as it was like stuff that only they can see. I mean, I guess you could interpret the whole movie to be like just these kids going crazy.
Imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a few details that like go against that. I think it's fine.
Like, how did the kids get there with the corn at the end?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Don't question it. But question it all the time.
Where did the umbrella go if there wasn't really a Totoro there?
Yeah. I love that scene, by the way.
I think it was pretty obvious. Like, you don't have to think that deeply. He's a magical spirit of the forest. So
yeah, he does exist. It's just like, I think the nanny explained it. It's like only young can see, like with the little dust sprites or whatever.
Yeah. And only when they want to be seen.
Dust sprites.
Did y'all watch it in English or Japanese with English subs?
I watched it in English.
Did you find the Troma version, or was it the Disney one?
Disney.
I thought the English was pretty good. I saw English last night.
There's really a Tromaville version?
Yeah, it was the first one, like Totoro explained.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was in the late 80s or early 90s.
Did it have the Toxic Avenger doing voices?
But it's like there's a subtlety to this movie that I think that is absent in a lot of Disney films.
Was this
Such
the
as?
first major Miyazaki film?
Yes.
All right, because
well, other than the Castle of Castle of Cagliostro was like the first one that he made, but that was before there was a Studio Ghibli. And I think actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Dakazu Nausicaa was made before this as well.
Nausicaa was his very first one.
Okay, and this was the other thing that is important to know about this movie is that it was originally shown as a double-headed feature with Grave of the Fireflies, which if you've ever seen Grave of the Fireflies, it is an extremely heavy movie, and so it really balances out well with that because I mean it's you're looking at the lightest of the light and the darkest of the dark, and like that, the heaviest possible thing that you can possibly imagine watching. So those two things really go together, and I think that is important to recognize as well.
I was asking about like if it was his first major release because I thought the movie was good. It was okay. Especially like it was. I had a term for it earlier, but as you said earlier, like whimsical and like benign and everything. But like I don't get the such high praise this movie has received and why it's like such a cult classic and everything, or not just cult classic, just a classic.
Well, you don't understand or you don't agree?
Well, I don't agree. I can like see why some people think that. This movie wasn't great.
Damn with Cross.
So I think it's great because I think that it's kind of a. So what I'm basically to try and explain some of the things I'm trying to allude at. There was this, I don't remember her name, this British author who she writes a lot of books about anime, and sometimes she goes to schools and shows children's like anime films. And one time she went to the school where there's like these elementary school kids, very young children, like 6 years old, and she showed them My Neighbor Totoro, right? And after she shows these movies, she has like these question and answers. She likes like a discussion having between the kids about the movie, right? And she asked the audience about the fact that there's no villain in the movie. She said, "Oh, how come there's no villain? You see Disney movies and there's always a villain. Why do you think there's no villain in this movie?" And one little girl like rose her hand and she said, "There's no villain in this movie because their mom's gonna die," which I think it's kind of accurate. Like this movie is about children as they exist, like in the real world, and for a little girl, like having a sister getting lost or having like a deep-seated fear that like her mom's gonna die, and it's also like a justified fear, right? Her mom's been sick for a long time, right? Having these fears is like enough adversity for children. It's not necessary to like make him fight a wizard named Jafar or have this fantastical plot, right? The fantasy is almost just for the whimsy and for like to be like a majestic or something like that. It's not really necessary to like the conflict of the plot. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I understand. It's just like I grew up with Kiki's Delivery Service, so I feel like I like that movie more, even though I'm probably in a minority there.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh God!
It's another.
I don't know if. Yeah, I don't know. Well, you know what? I can kind of see where Cross is coming from because compared to Totoro and compared to any of the other Miyazaki films, I grew up watching Castle in the Sky, so I have that has a big place in my heart as my favorite Miyazaki movie, I'm just really surprised if you saw Kiki, you didn't see Totoro as well until now.
Yeah, I don't, I've known of Totoro, it's just, I don't remember how I saw Kiki's Delivery Service, but I just remember watching that a lot as a kid.
Probably on Disney. Probably on Disney a few times.
Yeah, probably there, ABC Family or some crap like that. And, that movie also, just shows, the kind of quiet life at some points of a girl growing up and stuff, and so I just found it better, probably because it did have a main central conflict with what happens to her.
And I think the scene where she's running back to Granny to ask her to inspect the sandal because they found sandal in the river, and then
that's really tense.
The silence between her looking at the sandal and then exhaling and saying no, it's not hers, and then we would holy shit. I mean that's tragic stuff. I guess you have to get into the movie to be kind of affected by that, but that's really tense, sad stuff.
Since that wasn't hers, though, does that mean that another little girl died or drowned or whatever?
Possibly.
Lost the sandal.
Yeah, it could be everything. I agree that it's kind of funny how they go, it's just Granny overreacting, and he would just go about their business. Like, oh, there's still a sandal in the river.
Well,
Yeah, where'd that come from?
you know, you want to keep it. You want to treat it seriously, especially if a kid is missing and the possibility of it like possibly drowning. That's terrible. But they're kind of they're annoyed because stupid granny. But at the same time, they're relieved at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's just good filmmaking. Like when they say, like before she went off and before she got lost, you see a close-up shot of the sandals, and she puts her feet into the sandals and walks away. Right? Did you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, and then when I think his name's Kanta, the little boy who kind of has a crush on her, when he catches up to her, she's like, "Oh, they found a sandal in the river. You gotta go back." And then they have like a quick shot of a sandal in the river, and you don't know if it's her imagining it or if it's literally the sandal in the river. But you see that same sandal you saw her foot putting into, and it's like, oh fuck, did this movie just get super dark? Did the sister just drown? And like I think you're supposed to like share in the relief of the crowd when she says like, "Oh no, it's not her." It's like, holy shit.
Well,
This
that
movie was
moment
about to get super dark.
that moment didn't really seem like relief. It felt even worse because then they still didn't know where she was. She was still lost, like even worse than before.
No,
They had no idea where to even look.
Well, at least she's not dead in like.
Yeah, I understand.
Well,
what
just
you mean
because
She could be dead in a
was this-
tractor.
just because there's a sandal in the water doesn't mean she drowned. But that would have been a good place to look for her, is around there. But since it wasn't hers, they didn't have any idea where to even start looking.
I understand I understand what you guys are saying about the unknown and how the unknown can be like very difficult, but you can't discount the relief of knowing that your sister just didn't drown. I mean,
Thank God she's still missing.
Yes,
At least she's not dead.
Yeah, at least there's still hope that we could find her, and I mean, exactly how they did find her. She was perfectly fine and safe. She just got lost.
I can't remember if it showed at the end of the movie. Did it show people's reactions when they got back?
I
No,
don't think so.
no, they're on the tree, and then I think they're riding the cat bus home, and then it cuts to like the credits where it shows like a few time skips, like her mom coming home, stuff like that.
Yeah, because like, what would everybody else in that little village be thinking? Like, where did you come from? Where were you at?
Yeah, but see, those things are not important.
Well, it's a different.
These are the things I think about while watching a movie.
It's a different time. I mean, they're probably more happy than anything that she's safe and
Yeah,
sound.
like, I thought it was kind of cool that, like, it was such a nice community that the children were allowed to, like, just run around and stuff, be in the nature, except I was like, man, they keep letting this 5-year-old girl just run around and get lost.
They're out in the country, there's nothing else to do.
Keep an eye on.
It's another time. It's the 1950s.
Yeah, even here in the United States in the 1950s they were way more slack about kids running around at night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even going back for me, in the growing up in the 80s and 90s, it was you could run around, well, at least in Indiana, and just so long as you were home, by dark, everything was fine. It really didn't matter.
Yeah, that's the way it was for me in Wisconsin.
So I mean, it's a totally different a different time. And probably, even more so going back to the 50s.
Yeah, this movie isn't really what I was expecting. I was expecting Totoro to be in the movie more.
Yes. I was misled.
I thought it was going to be like their magical adventures, but that's not what it was at all.
No,
That's exactly what I thought it was.
Is that point a major point of your, let's call it, disappointment?
Sure. I mean, it just
Kind of?
yeah, just not what I was expecting.
But can you see the movie for what it is?
Yeah.
Yes.
I still.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's totally fine. And I mean, expectations aren't you can't erase expectations, right?
Right.
But you can always like frame your expectations and say like, hey, well, it wasn't that, but what is it? I still might not like what it is though. Like it seems like you don't think it's a bad movie, but you're like whatever.
No, I don't think it's a bad movie at all. I think it's a pretty good movie.
I think it's kind of genius.
I thought it was a pretty
But I'm
good
a
movie,
retarded
but not a great movie.
Did you see Porco Rosso cross?
No, I did not.
I know X is gonna say this is better than Porco Rosso.
Yeah.
But
Porco Rosso had adventure.
yeah, Porco Rosso is more of the
did,
simple.
but
it was simple, like we talked about it when we saw it. Like it was very simplistic, but that was more of an adventure. This is more of the cross.
I mean, I will say this did actually develop characters way better than Porco Rosso did.
I think so,
Mononoke.
maybe. Because I think you should watch Mononoke because that is like the most Hollywood I think of his films.
especially with the Hollywood treatment to it when it was brought to
and
America.
like I keep saying, the dub on that on Princess Mononoke is fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That is one of the absolute best dubs.
Thanks
ever,
to Neil Gaiman.
It's just.
Oh, did he headship that?
Yes, he did.
Neil Gaiman's great. I'm reading one of his books now, but yeah, he's just that. I mean, I think I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before, but I love Totoro. I love the character of Totoro. But this is not by any stretch like even my favorite Miyazaki movie. It's probably not even in the top 3. It's not even in the top 2. It may round out the top 3. But
yeah, My Neighbor Totoro. It's a good movie, and a lot of people really, really like it.
Yeah, it was in the top 250 on IMDb, and I really don't get that.
You don't understand that?
Well, like, what's around it?
I don't know.
Because there's probably other crap in the top 250 that I would just not agree with.
I don't know. It has a simplicity.
I would think it probably could belong there, but...
Well, I can see why people would like it.
I would never rank 250 movies. That would be impossible.
I liked it. I just didn't like it as much as I feel like some of you liked it.
That I feel I should like it. I feel like I should have liked it more, but I didn't.
I mean, you should never feel obligated to like something, but as long as you look at it for what it is, and...
But especially if your expectations are not what you thought it was. If you thought it was going to be a movie about their adventures with Totoro, then it's not the case. It's more of like the mystery of the fact that there's this like forest spirit that just happens to appear, and he doesn't appear often.
No, he doesn't. It was like 3 times?
Only 3.
Yeah, he was in 3 scenes.
Okay, so
and the cat bus was in 2 of them with him.
Okay, well, let's think. Well, because there's the first scene, there is this...
4. Okay, I guess 4.
With... Yeah, 4
the tree
scenes.
growing.
So there's the first scene where the tree growing, the scene at the
bus stop scene is so good.
And
actually, there's 5 scenes. Because there's also when the dad is looking out, and then you see the Totoro at the top of the trees.
Right.
Just the Totoros, though, not the girls.
Oh yeah, they're like playing their instruments.
Acorn flutes.
Can we talk about the bus stop scene? Because it's so good. That scene's awesome.
That's Darvox's favorite scene, so let him talk about it.
Well, whatever, to speak for itself. I like that it's kind of slow, and the detail in the rain, and the way Totoro is so like
standing there with an umbrella.
No, like the way
he really liked the drops.
Exactly, he's pleased. Like when you feel the drop, the way he smiles, it's just a fun time. And again, like just the way it's animated, everything looks fantastic. Like even though it's just a rainy, dark bus stop, it still looks beautiful because of the amount of detail put into it. It's not a beautiful environment, but it's a beautiful composition or whatever. Good shit. Also, if I had kids, I'd show this movie to them before I showed them any other Disney movie.
Even before Iron Giant?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Because this movie...
That's not a Disney movie.
Oh, well, yeah, I should have said, like, kid movies.
Kids animated.
Yeah, typical kid animated. I mean, like, if this was, like, a Disney movie...
You mean American animated movies?
Yeah, if this was, like, a typical Disney or American animated film, there would have been a scene where, like, his dad sees Totoro and then he faints and like, oh daddy, you're so silly. I mean, this movie doesn't have that stuff.
Or he would have seen him and then freaked out because it was a monster, and then the kids would have ran off trying to get Totoro to freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, like something kind of conflict in that sense. Like, Dark Fox, your entire explanation about conflict, I was very, very like impressed with how you like broke it down.
They don't call me film artist Dark Fox for nothing. I'm playing.
Well, I mean,
I'm playing.
Even at the, you talk about like when the kids talked about, the fact that the mom's gonna die. That's something that even like, because in the end, when they show those like little scenes with Mei and Satsuki and playing and all that stuff. And I mean, the mom comes back. Correct me if I'm wrong, and is in those little montages.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, well, I take that to mean like, like it's happy because she finally got to get her trip home, but the specter of her illness isn't exactly gone. If something tragic could still happen down the line, it's just kind of how life is, and they could still be happy and play around even though the mom is sick.
Was there like a deleted scene or something from the movie that shows why May had to go to the school?
No, she just missed her
that's something
sister.
that's always, yeah.
But she was fine for most of the day, and then she just freaked out. That's what Granny said.
Well, but that's how, like, what, 4 or 5
Yeah.
years old?
Kids are kinda
They
like
may
that
be
sometimes.
fine 1 minute, and then all of a sudden
True.
they turn around and they suddenly feel, lonely.
Yeah, the main characters in this movie, like their motivations are like completely innocent, but at the same time like completely like selfish, which I think
They're
is kind of
kids.
realistic. Yeah, exactly.
Like any,
It's
yeah,
really, really
they're
realistic
kids.
in that sense.
I liked the scene where May said, "Is it time to eat lunch yet?" It was like right after they finished breakfast.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
Did you want to? I don't know if you were, because I know that you alluded to it like last week after we recorded, or I think it was after we recorded the kind of urban legend associated with this.
Well, I don't know too well. What is it exactly? I just know it deals with May.
Dakazu, do you want to go into this? Because I feel kind of weird talking about it, and even because I don't think it's true.
Yeah, I think it's bullocks.
Well, before like it was officially like you said it was officially like denounced, but there was always like a talk about like
Yes.
how it's what is it? The younger sister is dead. Is that what it is?
At a certain point. Okay, so basically, here's
a rumor.
Here's
Yeah.
the urban. Yeah, this, yeah, I can't stress this enough that this is like an urban legend that has been thoroughly denounced by Hayao Miyazaki. I mean, the people who worked with it, but it references what's called the and I'm going to butcher this. It's either the Sayama or the Saitama incident. Saitama
Saitama.
or Tama or Yama. But basically around like in May in one of the years, one of the 50s, there was a girl who was killed, and her sister was traumatized and said that a tanuki had done it, and like killed. It was a rash of killings as well. So I think there were like 6 or 7 girls who were killed in this throughout this process, or throughout these killings. But what they like, some of the things that people point to in the movie is that, when you talk about when May was fine and then she wasn't fine, that's when she was initially attacked or whatever. And then there are things like saying, you talked about the sandal in the river that Satsuki finds. It's that, it is May's sandal, but she just can't bring herself to admit that it was. And even the area, the Saitama area, is where this movie is supposed to take place. There's actually like, I think, a Totoro's tree like park or nature preserve or something outside of Tokyo where this is supposed to take place, and that's where it is, and things like that. And then like there's the scene where May is lost and she's with the kind of, I don't know if they're Shinto or Buddhist figures, like they're kind of like little statues, but there are like 6 or 7 of them, and it's supposed to line up with the same number of victims from the spree killing. So just kind of weird, dark stuff that has been associated with it. Like I said, it's something that people have brought up and people have pointed to, that it's been roundly denounced by.
It's just. Sorry, go ahead, though.
Oh, well, I'll just say that that's more explanation that I ever heard of it. The only thing I thought it was about was that in one of those statues there was May's name written on it, and I was like, wait, in Japanese culture, does that mean that if your name is written on this, you're dead or something? Like, no, that doesn't mean anything like that. Like, so that's just graffiti. What does that have to do with anything? But I guess that's more of an explanation as to why this urban legend would exist.
Yeah. It's basically Totoro basically just summed it up. I don't really want to get into it because
it's just some coincidence that leads to like some dark imaginations of what might be.
Exactly. It's just people pulling at strings.
People look for a thread through everything.
Mm-hmm. So guys, we have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the next movie box pick is.
I have to say unwanting. I was like, are you vetoing a movie?
No, I don't know what it is.
Robert Goggles, where are you?
Yeah, and we were gonna skip him and go to Seamus, but Seamus never got back to me.
Well,
do we want to do something that we talked about doing several weeks ago and doing True Romance?
We could. It's a good movie.
you mean like a filler movie until we get back to Robbie Goggles?
Or Seamus.
Yeah, I apologize. I was busy this week, and in general, I've been forgetting to ask people ahead of time before we podcast, like to get their pick.
We almost chose Cagliostro.
I do have Snake Dude's pick.
But he's like way down the line.
Yeah, you need to go through Grand White North and Lord XV first.
You know, speaking of Snake Dude, everyone should go check out his new... He makes like machinima videos, and he made one of us from Mumble Talk, and his new one is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's filled with inside jokes, so it's not like a universal
funny.
funny.
It's not really an inside joke type of thing. It's just a conversation that happened in Mumble.
But like
animated.
One of the funniest things about it was when Dakazu freaks out about company heroes.
That's not an inside joke. He actually freaked out.
Yeah, but like it's typical of Dakazu, right? And when you see that, it's really funny to have it like almost like characterized like almost like in a cartoon. Yeah, it's good stuff. I think it's called Mumbling Out Loud. Is that what it's called? Or Geekbox server Mumbling Out Loud.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. Almost all of us are featured in it. Totoro's in it. Dako's in it. I'm in it very briefly.
Like Kananda and Kenzo.
I think
that's it.
And Snake Dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed, but it shows Dakazu in a car, and whenever it shows him in the car, you can hear singing in the background, and the singing in the background is Snake Dude.
I was like, what is that?
I think it's Call Me Maybe. That's what he's singing.
Yeah, you can find it. It's in the Mumble thread on the Geekbox forums.geekbox.net. That's really good. You know what, X? I think we should do that. We should do that. True Romance.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
We can do that. No one has seen it.
No one has seen it except X. That's why. So.
Who did that? It's the dead guy, right?
Yeah, Tony Scott directed it. Quentin Tarantino wrote it.
That's kind of a sad way to put it.
Well, that's the way I contextualize it.
I mean,
remember when we talked about that dead guy? Yeah, there was that movie that X said was really good. That movie. Yeah.
And only like one other person has seen.
Yes.
And that
Liquid doesn't really like it.
I thought he said he liked it.
No, he said he doesn't.
Huh. Yeah, so we're just going to take a pause, and then when we get back to the list, we'll just go back in order with Bobby Goggles again. Sorry. So next week's movie, it's kind of a random pick, but a movie that we wanted to see, it's True Romance. We could have done that, or we could have done like a Halloween-based movie, but...
Good.
I think
I think we got that covered.
There's still time.
Check out the Horror Box.
Horror Box. We will be watching a Halloween 3 on that.
Oh my gosh. I wish I could be on that podcast.
You could get up super early.
The next one...
I'm busy.
The next one is, I think actually in order is The Burning.
It is, but I mean the one that comes out on Halloween Day is Halloween 3.
How very appropriate. It's a good movie, by the way.
I haven't seen it.
What?
Yep.
This is discussion for another podcast.
I've seen every other Halloween movie, though, I believe.
I just can't believe like such a horror movie buff like X hasn't seen Halloween 3.
I haven't seen The Exorcist either.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's an old movie.
Shut up, Cross.
Old.
They're both from before you were born.
Seriously.
I'm pretty sure Halloween 3 is more recent.
It's not that recent.
But it's more recent.
What about Halloween H2O?
Halloween Resurrection?
Now we're just shouting stuff.
No, those are movies.
Halloween.
I actually really like Resurrection. I really like Resurrection.
Did they call the second one from the reboots Halloween 2?
Yeah. Have you guys seen Resurrection?
Nope.
Has Busta Rhymes in it?
No.
Does he bust some rhymes?
No. But it's set on like a reality TV show. It's like he goes into like the Big Brother house or something. It's good stuff. Well, it's more like the Big Brother house is set up in Michael Myers' old house.
Why would you do that?
Movie. I have seen that movie. At least
Why would you? Why
section of it?
Why is that a good idea?
It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this also had murders happen. Yo, dog, let's watch.
Movie plots
of Michael Myers movies.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think we should end this. Thanks for listening to this episode. Thanks for CrossXhunter and DarkFox8 and Special Guest Humble for joining us this week. If you enjoyed this podcast, please donate to the official Geekbox mobile server. That's where we hang out, play video games, record the podcast. If you want to join the podcast, just let us know in Mumble, or you can PM us on the forums, forums.geekbox.net. You can PM Mr. X, Totoro, or me, Dakazu. Follow us on Twitter at alltalk podcast. Email us questions, podcast@alltalkpodcast.com. Don't forget to review us on iTunes. And listen to the other podcasts, including The Geekbox, Comic Conspiracy, The Comedy Button, and Good Job Brain as well. That wraps it up for this week. Thanks for listening. I love you.
I know.